Howdy, Sheriff.
United States Deputy Marshal. Name is Forbes.
Gonna have to get me some of them eye spectacles as soon as I learn how to read. You got my boy in there?
Yeah.
What's the charge?
Murder.
Just how'd he do it?
Knife.
That's the way he'd do it. If he did it.
This is public land. You'll have to clear off. You're loitering.
Well, now, we're the public. We're gonna have ourselves a picnic.
How long does this picnic last?
Till my boy walks out of that jail?
Hello, Tess.
Good morning, Sam. Where have you been?
Oh, delivering a prisoner to Albuquerque.
These are my friends, Quinn and Allie Rose. We were playing Fox and Gander. I wasn't really playing, just keeping an eye on them.
Well, children should be supervised. Say, that sure is a pretty doll.
That's about the ugliest doll on the face of the earth. It's just that it's hers and it's all she's got. Me, I got this.
You live in those wagons over there? Go back to your game. Tess, you better go on to school.
Oh, I almost forgot. Bye, Sam.
Bye, Tess.
Hello, Sam. Your prisoner give you any trouble?
Some. He won't anymore. He's in the Albuquerque Juzgado. You know, you have a bunch of Rawhiders out front.
Yeah.
It's not a good element to have around.
They're within their rights.
What are they doing in Santa Fe?
I've got one of them here. He murdered dealer Splain.
Splain? Well, they couldn't have made a better choice. Splain's a thief and a murderer. His partner, Cooper, isn't much better. They're both pretty handy with a gun. Did your man ambush them?
Good as a six-shooter and not as noisy.
How'd it happen?
Why don't you ask the prisoner? I'd like to hear it again myself. He might stump his toe this time around.
Did you ever see this before?
Sure. It's mine. Got my name initials, E.W. Elijah Wesley, cut right in the handle.
When was the last time you saw it?
Yesterday morning.
What happened between you and Splain yesterday morning?
Well, I was walking over to fraud back some strays.
On foot?
We just got two horses. They're about to where we carry them. And this pair jumped me, told me again to get out, roughed me up and shot at me.
Can you prove that?
Guess them bullets are still there in the sand.
And you left your knife behind.
Lucky to get myself out. They're fixing to shoot me.
You go back to sleep.
When do I get loose?
When we unlock the door. Is that the same story he told you?
And the same one Cooper told when he filed charges. Identical. Up to the point when the knife left Lige's hand. Of course, Cooper denies firing at him.
It isn't often a man with a knife will attack two men with guns. I'd better talk to his people.
Oh, Sam. I was talking to him earlier. I don't think they'll have much to say to a lawman.
Well, sometimes a sympathetic ear is more persuasive than a clenched fist.
You ain't the mayor come to greet us.
My name is Sam Buckhart. I'm not the mayor, but I have come to greet you.
Well, I'm John Wesley. You're just in time for the feasty. Come on, set, man, set. Give him a drink, boy.
Thank you, Mr. Wesley, but I came here to talk business.
Last time I talked business with an Apache, he had a tomahawk. Hey, get on about your business there. What's the matter with you? Ain't you never seen an Indian before? Go on, sit, man, sit. Can't talk business unless you're full of food and whiskey. Food's a cooking, whiskey's aging by the minute.
Too early in the day for me.
Drink up, man. Might be a short day.
No, thank you.
Well, here's to you, then.
Mr. Wesley, I noticed none of you wear sidearms. Isn't it dangerous traveling in open country without a gun?
Well, shucks, we got a gun somewhere. Mark! Quick, Zeke! Find me that gun! Quinn! Quinn, where is that boy? Quinn, where you been, huh? Well, she's around here somewhere.
How long has the feasty been going on?
Oh, about a week back, Mark married up with Clementine. They've been grinning at each other like a couple of cats eating cockleburs ever since. Same day, I traded 100 hides to a cavalry sutler for 8 kegs of whiskey.
When is it gonna end?
When the whiskey's gone.
Here's a gun, Grandpa. It's on the ground by the wagon wheel we was changing.
Told you we had a gun. Get away from me, boy.
Well, it's pretty good for shooting around corners.
Zeke! You prize off that wagon wheel with this here gun? Now you know my granddaddy paid $6 for this gun. You know what's gonna happen to you, don't you, boy? Raising a big family keeps a man's hands sore. What do you want, boy? Drop your gun belt, Marshal.
You don't give a man much choice.
Nobody takes one of us without a fight. One of you took Zeke when he was away from camp. Now I'm gonna fight you for him. I win, I get him. You win, you can lock me up.
You're not getting Lige out of that jail unless he's cleared or condemned.
Maybe, but you can't deny me the privilege of whooping you.
I'm gonna try.
Oh, shucks. This ain't no way to fight. Hey! You're just about as good at that thing as we are. Come on, let's get back to fighting. Come on, come on. Hey, stop the fight.
Stay out of this, deputy. It's a fair fight.
You all right?
Could be worse. You go get a cell ready for him.
Man! That whiskey hurts. I ain't never had you son of my mouth cut up like that before. Man, that was some fight. I ain't been whooped like that in years. Now, why didn't you kick me in the head when you had me down, just like anybody else would?
Come on, let's go. Nobody's stopping me?
Well, a deal's a deal.
I don't think I'll take you in.
We must be owing you something. What do you want us to do, pack and get?
I'll tell you when.
Why didn't you bring him in?
I think the old man learned his lesson. Besides, why should the taxpayers feed him for 2 weeks?
That sympathetic ear you were aiming to lend him looks a little bit puffy.
Marshal, when are you going to hang that filthy murderer?
In time, with due process of law.
When does the circuit judge come through here again?
Judge Copeland will be here in about 2 weeks.
I can get Judge Mason up from Albuquerque by tomorrow.
Well, he's authorized to sit in this county.
When are you going to run those stinking Rawhiders out of town?
When they break the law.
I can have legal justice around here inside of 24 hours. If your courts can't handle it, I can.
Cooper, you set up a lynch and I'll get you. You stop or even slow down by those wagons out there and I'll have your hide. You touch a gun, I'll kill you now.
Marshal, you side with trash against a tax-paying citizen. You'll find out who keeps you in office.
You're not the man who does. Now go on, get out of here. Nick, could you tell me exactly where you found Plains' body? I'd like to have a look.
Sure. Near the rock cut up at Pronghorn Pass?
Worth $1 each. Keg of whiskey, worth $12. Railroad watch. Keeps good time, too, if you remember to wind it. That, too. Blacksmith can straighten out that barrel as good as new. Figure this stuff here is worth upwards of $50.
I wouldn't be surprised. What's it for?
Bail for Lige.
Oh, Mr. Wesley, you know there's no bail on a murder charge.
Well, then what time's the trial?
The circuit judge will be here in 2 weeks.
2 weeks? We can't stick around that long. We got a herd out there. Them critters start to drift. We follow them. Lige ain't gonna be able to find us.
Well, you can follow them later.
But the rains are coming on. A lot of herds gonna be coming through here, crisscrossing each other. We'll probably lose the whole bunch.
Out of my way, out of my way.
Judge Mason.
Say, what's going on here? A town meeting or an auction? What did you do? Confiscate some whiskey?
Not exactly. I didn't expect you here so soon.
Well, Cooper wired me to come up a holding a hearing because some fella might get lynched.
Then we can have the trial today.
Well, we can have the hearing.
I can set up court in the saloon, take a little drink of breakfast, and be ready in an hour.
I've got to ride out and get Cooper.
That won't be necessary. I'm having breakfast with him.
Marshal, will you defend my boy?
No, I'm afraid not.
We were ready to put this up for bail. You get Lige off, it's all yours.
You would have gotten your bail back.
You don't think once we get Lige out of here, we're going to come back, do you? Will you do it?
Mr. Wesley, I'm not an attorney.
You studied law for a year at Harvard. You could do it just as well as anybody else.
And we don't know anybody else.
Well, first, I'm not entirely convinced of his innocence. Second, this is only a hearing to see if he'll be held for trial. But I will appear as a friend of the court and establish what facts I can.
Thank you, Marshal. Thank you. Come on, get out of here, will you? Get out of here before a man changes his mind. Thank you.
don't think they have a chance. Judge Mason's a friend of Cooper's and a ranch owner himself. If there's anything he hates, it's squatters.
The second time we asked him nice-like to please get off our land, he chucked a knife at Dealer's plane. Caught him right in the neck.
And you let him get away?
Happened so fast. No noise until Dealer fell over. And I went to him to see what it was. And I turned back, the fellow was gone.
Your Honor, may I approach the bench?
Sure.
Is this the murder weapon?
It is.
How far away was the man from Splain when he threw the knife?
About from here to that wall.
The knife seems to have caught Splain dead center. Is it possible to be accurate at that distance?
Let me have that knife. This is August 13th, isn't it?
Under the circumstances, isn't it dangerous to show you handle a knife so well?
Everyone around here knows how good I handle a knife. I've been doing it since I was 10 years old.
Did you ever throw a knife in any way other than the way you just did?
Two things that never change. The style a man uses to throw a rope and a knife.
Did the man wear the knife at his belt?
No, he had it down his back in his shirt.
That's all.
All right, Coop, go get over there. Get that squatter up here. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
What'd you say?
Say yes and sit down.
Yes.
What'd he say, Grandpa?
Well, he said that. Oh, shut up.
Now, give the court your version of what happened.
Well, happened just exactly as that fella said. Except for two things.
What two things?
Well, first, Splain bet Cooper $1 that he could shoot a half moon in my big toenail without drawing blood. He darn near did it. Twice. He was getting shaky, and I was scared he'd shoot me in the foot. So I threw my knife to distract him so as I could get away. But I didn't hit him. I hit a tree right by him.
Squatter, can you prove that?
No?
Your Honor, I'd like to discuss motivations. I found that Splain and Cooper owned that ranch in joint tenancy with right of survivorship. Splain's death left Cooper sole owner of a 3,500-acre ranch. It netted lies here, nothing but a charge of murder.
You accuse me of murder, you'll wind up back with the rest of those dog-eating Apaches.
I wanted to come after you a lot of times. You better be glad I'm a Marshal first and Apache second. Is this your knife?
Sure is.
And is this the scabbard for it?
Yep.
Would you put it on?
Sure.
This man wears his knife like the Jaliscos, the Mexican cowhands. You will note the eagle beak at the top of the haft. Besides being decorative and symbolic, it gives the forefinger something to hook onto when drawing the knife and throwing it. Mr. Wesley, did you throw this knife at that calendar?
Sure.
Very good, Lige. Your Honor, do you notice anything in particular about this?
Only that I wouldn't bet against either one of them in a knife-tossing contest.
Cooper's knife hit with the blade edge up. Wesley's hit with the blade edge down.
Todd, if it didn't.
Deputy Forbes, when you saw the body, was the knife still in the neck?
Was?
Was the blade edge up toward the chin or down toward the toes?
I object! Now, Coop, I don't doubt that a bit. But if you kill dealer Splain, I can only warn you that I learned just one set of laws, and they apply to everybody.
About the position of the knife.
I can't be sure.
Your Honor, it's obvious one of these men is telling the truth and the other one is lying. There is no concrete evidence available, but if the court will indulge me 15 minutes, I believe I can straighten this thing out.
Granted.
My people have a way of finding out who is telling the truth and who isn't. A knife is heated, then placed on the tongues of the men involved. If the knife slides off, then the man is telling the truth. But if the knife sticks to the flesh, then the man is lying.
Why don't you use a divining rod or a bone with feathers on it?
Your Honor, there's more to this test than superstition. A liar's mouth is dry with fear. He doesn't have enough saliva to stave off the heat.
I think it's up to the men involved. You, the squatter, come up here. Is it all right with you?
Marshal, this hot knife on the tongue sounds sort of personal. Sure it works that way?
It always has.
It's all right with me.
What about you, Cooper?
I suppose this was a court of law, not no Apache camp dance.
Cooper, there's an awful lot of evidence against you. This is one way to clear yourself.
Will he go first?
Yes.
All right.
Tastes rusty.
Now, if Mr. Cooper will be...
Mr. Cooper will be killing Mr. Buckhart.
Appears the complaining witness isn't going to press his complaint.
Judge, I didn't see who planted that knife in Cooper, did you?
The old man did it.
John Wesley? Maybe you'd better take him in.
Well, you better charge him quick so I can find him not guilty in time to get out on the noon stage.
Not guilty.
The way that crazy Cooper was pointing that gun, he could have killed me.
Hey, Marshal! The way you figured that knife, that was real thoughty of you, catching out Cooper that way.
Thanks.
Yes, sir, that came as a real surprise to me.
It did? Why?
Well, I thought Lige did it.